let's jump back in to that first part. Remember, the first fact is that our amygdala's job is to keep us safe. And it does this by fighting like a lion, running away like a zebra, or freezing like a turtle. This is something that athletes really struggle with. So let's all get on the same page when we think of our amygdala and tumbling. Tumbling is stupid. I didn't say it's not fun, but it is not biologically or evolutionarily beneficial to us. If I asked all of you coaches out there, hey, come on, let's flip. I bet some of you are like, yeah, cool, let's do it. And the rest of you are like, yeah, no, Jeff. I watched a friend of mine just the other day throw a back tuck for his 40th birthday. And I was like, that's really cool for you. I think my body would disintegrate. I want my body to freeze or run away when I try and get it to tumble, because it would not be helpful for me. It would hurt a lot. I'd injure myself, even though I have done it multiple times before. What we're trying to do with athletes is help them understand that when they're not tumbling, they're experiencing that turtle response. Put your hands up, coaches. How many of you have athletes, when you ask them to do something slightly uncomfortable, they avoid it at all costs? Yep, I see a whole bunch of hands. Yeah, totally. Even if it's not tumbling, like I'm talking even stunting, maybe even baskets, you're going to notice this fight, flight, or freeze response occur all the time in practices. You're going to see athletes run away like a zebra all the time. Oh, I can't do that. I'm not a back spot. Oh, no, I can't possibly do that standing back handspring and at that point in the mat. No, I don't tumble on tumble tracks. This is all avoidant behavior. One of the things that you can do as a coach to help with this fight, flight, or freeze response is to include challenges in your practice. Start working on giving your athletes just a little bit of fear or challenges every day, not just in tumbling, but everywhere. Because I guarantee half of you in here right now are like, oh, this is good information for just my team. Yeah, it is. Mental blocks in your and on your team are an opportunity for you to help all athletes understand fear. Help all athletes improve this under construction medium brain. Let's go through now the second fact that we talked about, which is our amygdala stores emotional memories, both positive and negative. When I talk about positive emotional memories, what often happens with memories is that they get stored based on our five senses. If you listen to a song and immediately you start to get pumped up, that's a sign of your amygdala having stored those memories. When I smell pine, I immediately feel joy. Why? Because I had a lot of positive emotional memories with Christmas as a kid. But the opposite is also true. We store negative emotional memories as well. Think of how a child or a person becomes really scared of a dog. The first time they see a dog, probably no big deal, but there is most likely an example or something that's happened in their life where they went to a dog park, let's say, and they were just neutrally just there, and all of a sudden a dog came after them. Maybe the dog was barking. Maybe the dog was really excited, but that child got scared and maybe ran away from the dog. That's right, zebra. And what does a dog do when somebody runs away? They run after them. They think it's a game, it's fun. But what do you think gets stored in that kid's mind? Oh, dogs are unsafe. Dogs are scary. So what ends up happening is that the next time that dog goes to or that child goes to the dog park, they cower by their mom. That's right, they turtle. And so they get scared. And even though a dog may never come by them, what happens is that fear gets reinforced. The only way I'm safe is by staying by my mom because dogs are dangerous. So let's lead that back to the conversation I just had about your teams. If you don't expose your athletes and your teams to challenges each day, and instead they need the perfect environment for things to happen, what you're going to see is a lot of performance errors. Really quick, I want to talk to you about that third fact because it's really important. And then we're going to go into how to know how much of a challenge we want to expose athletes who have mental blocks to, and or our team or the athletes on our team. So that third fact, which is really hard for a lot of athletes to swallow, is that when you have a mental block, it's a sign that your amygdala doesn't trust you. So our goal is to regain our amygdala's trust. Here's Jeff getting to prove his point. Do you remember in the beginning, my job is not to get you to throw your tumbling. My job or my goal is to try and help you reframe or relook at the way you look at a mental block. I want your athletes, when they're standing there getting ready to go and they're trying to lion, but they can't force their amygdala to let them go. And I know right now, all you coaches are like, I know what that is. I've seen that. I want the athlete to not be like, I want to throw it. Why can't I throw it? What I want is, what am I doing right now that is causing distrust with my amygdala? That athlete who starts looking at tumbling in that way or fear in that way is on the road to recovery. That's like my number one, I work one-on-one with athletes. So I get, as you can assume, a lot of parent messages. Hey, my kid, she wants to throw it. I don't understand. She throws it one day and she won't throw it the next. And I empathize, like, yeah, tumbling and not being able to do something that you own is really hard. How emotional does your child get about it? Oh, she is just devastated. Your child is going to stay in a mental block for a long time. Or they're going to get out of it because they're going to use the tools that I share with them, but they're going to cycle back into it because their focus is, I'm good when I tumble. I don't have a mental block. Oh, I have a little fear. I must have a mental block again. I can't throw it. And so then they avoid it like a zebra. What we want to create are more resilient athletes, ones that can withstand not being able to throw the skills that they are trying to throw. I'm going to jump ahead really quick and then I'm going to go back. I promised you all that after we talked about the 3 rules, that what we would do is express, or I would explain how we're going to work with athletes and find the right balance of fear. Think of a stoplight. Yeah, I'm about to call a bunch of you out. You're right. What do we do at a green light, parents, coaches? We go. What do we do at a red light? We stop. What do we do at a yellow light? I see some of your faces. You're like, oh, I know what you want me to say. Okay, we got some honesty here. We got go faster, go. All right, I like it. I like the honesty. This feels good. We have 2 choices to make at a yellow light. If we rewind to 16 years old taking driver's ed, right? If we see a yellow light and we can make it through the intersection, keeping the same speed, we are allowed to go. If we see a yellow light and we are not going to make it through the intersection before it turns red, we must stop. That is the metaphor I want you to think of with your athletes, whether it be your teams and performance anxiety or with your athletes who have fear. And no two athletes are the same. We know this. None of your two kids are the same, right? There are things that one kid is going to do that is like green light, go, green light, go. And then you have another kid who's like, ooh, yellow light, slow down, yellow light, slow down. What we want to do is expose our kids, athletes, to green lights, what I call lime lights, and the yellow lights, keep going the speed you are. That is what I call the Goldilocks zone. Not too easy, not too hard, just right. A great coach is going to find the balance for the team and for individual athletes on just right. Why do a lot of athletes struggle with overcoming fear? Because they don't know if it's a yellow light, keep going, or is it a yellow light, I need to slow down. Most athletes fall into one of two categories if they have a mental block. Yellow light, go faster. And what do? Their amygdala flips their lid and they freeze, and then they get mad. I really hope I'm getting a lot of head nods here. Like, oh, yes, I know that girl. The second athlete personality that I usually see is if it's not yellow light, go faster, it's yellow light, I could make it through, but I'm going to just stop immediately. Like I'm going to avoid it. I'm going to run away like a zebra. Any little exposure to fear and they absolutely stop and they give up. Those are the two athletes who have mental blocks, and those are the two athletes who amygdalas don't trust them. This athlete's amygdala can't handle the amount of pressure, and this athlete's amygdala is worried about making mistakes.